So let's have a look at the passive voice in Spanish. So which one of these sentences are passive and which are active? The dog ate the bone, the house is being sold, the apple has been eaten by the worm, and the boy sold his toys. So this one, the dog ate the bone, the dog is doing the action to the bone. So this is an active sentence. The house is being sold, the house is being sold by someone. So this one's a passive sentence because it's having the action done to it. The apple is being eaten by the worm. Again, this is a passive sentence because the apple is having something done to it. And the boy sold his toys. The boy is doing the action to his toys. I always look at an active sentence as a forward-looking action. So the dog does an action to something. And a passive is a backward-looking action. So the house is receiving this action. It's being done to it. So it looks backwards, using the verb backwards. And this one, again, passive. We know here who's doing the action. So the worm is doing the action to the apple. And the boy sold his toys. Again, the boy is doing the action to his toys. So it's a forward-looking action. So what is it made up of in English? So we've got the object, the dinner. The verb to be is, that's where it comes from. And then in English, eating is a past participle. So how to make this sentence active? Well, I know that who's doing this action, so I can put students at the beginning of the sentence and rearrange the sentence so it makes it an active sentence. Now, the thing in English is we use the passive a lot, but in Spanish they don't use it very much. So this is one way in which they avoid using the passive. If they know who's doing the action, they make it active. So the answer is the students eat the dinner in the canteen. So this is an action. The students are doing the eating into this dinner in the canteen. Whereas in this case it's passive because the dinner is receiving the action. So in Spanish, almost the same. Let's take the dinner is eaten by the students. So we take the verb to be in Spanish, which is, well, you could either have a ser or estar, but in this case we use ser for the passive. In whatever tense you want, so it could be in the past tense, it could be in present tense, it could be the future, whatever. And then we add a past participle, which ends in either what. If you remember the perfect tense, this is how we do it in the perfect tense as well. So if it ends in AR, if the verb ends in AR, we take the AR off and add ADO. If it ends in ER or IR, we take those off and add IDO. Now there are some irregulars, so you just need to look those up. If you look at your perfect tense notes, they'll tell you what the regular past participles are. Then we need to agree the past participle. Now we don't do this in the perfect tense, but it works a little bit like an adjective. So the sentence would read, La cena es comida por los estudiantes. Comido normally, but because it agrees with cena, it changes to A on the end. If it was cenas, S on the end, or if it was something masculine, we'd put OS on the end. If it's for plural, or just O, leave it as O if it's masculine. But be careful. The Spanish, as I said, use this lots less in Spanish, and most of the time they try and make it active, or they find other ways in which they can avoid the passive. So let's have a look at some practice then. Let's put the fuller sentences into Spanish. Okay, so if you pause it now, you can have a go at this. Have a look at your notes. There's some notes in Moodle you can print out if you want to have a look at those. And then play it again when you're ready to go over the answers. So the first one, las decisiones son tomadas por mis padres. Are taken, present tense. Decisión is feminine. We know it's feminine because it ends in ION. And so we have to make our past participle agree with decisions AS. Right? Por mis padres. El dinero es dado a la gente pobre. Okay, fairly straightforward. Masculine ending. Present tense. No soy permitido salir. So I'm not allowed. Now, if you were a girl, obviously you could put an A on the end, but an O in this case because I was writing it. El castillo fue construido. So this one is in the past tense, the preterite tense this time, but it's still the verb to be. Castle is masculine, so we put an O on the end. El tren fue conducido lentamente. Again, preterite here, and O on the end because it's el tren. The schools will be joined in the future. So los institutos serán juntados. Future tense now. Future tense of the verb to be. Juntados because it's institutos and masculine plural. And you can use either el futuro or el porvenir. Porvenir is quite a nice one to use because it doesn't look like futuro. Might give you some extra marks. El chocolate fue consumido por los nativos mexicanos. Mexicanos can spell either way, but the main thing here is fue because it's the preterite, and O because chocolate is masculine. Muchas libras son gastadas en mejorar la infraestructura. Libras feminine, so gastado, gastadas, feminine ending. And the last one, which you probably can't quite see, just bring it down a bit. Muchos turistas han sido atraídos. This one is the perfect tense of the verb to be, and then we put a past participle on again. So in this case, it's got two past participles. This past participle for the perfect, and this one for the passive. Turistas, ista words are always masculine, but we know it's masculine here because we put muchos, and then we put os on the end. If you're talking about just female tourists, you leave it as muchas, but because tourists are male and female, it's a masculine ending. Okay, well that's the basic practice. There's some more. There's a little test coming up, so you can have a little go at that, and again I'll go through the answers. Okay, there's your test. Pause it here before we go through the answers. Remember, these are all sorts of different parts of the verb to be, different tenses as well. Okay, the answers. El plátano fue comido por el mono. Okay, por el mono, by in Spanish. Remember, por is for by. Fue, preterite, O ending because plátano is masculine. Estudiantes fueron, preterite again in the they form. Estudiantes are masculine in this case, could be both feminine and masculine, but we've mixed them so it's masculine. Dados, os on the end because it's masculine plural. Ventanas son cerrados. Right, can you see what mistake I've made here? Ventanas, feminine, but I haven't put a feminine ending on the end here, so I've made a middle mistake there. Naughty Mr. Stanley. So I need to put an A on the end here. Cerradas, por los profesores. El español es estudiado por muchas personas. Masculine for español, O on the end here. El mundo es contaminado por China y los Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos, instead of putting USA, you can put EEUU. Mundo is masculine, so we have a masculine ending here. El avión fue cogido por los padres. Masculine endings. Right, sorry about that. One of my children coming in to ask me a question. Okay, so el avión fue tomado, cogido por sus padres. Fue, preterite of ser, avión's masculine. One of the odd ones actually, because normally ION is a feminine ending, but this one's masculine. O on the end of these past participles. Las estrellas son vistas cada noche en el campo. Son, present tense, vistas. Visto is an irregular past participle, so if you have a look at your irregular ones, you'll know those. Estrellas are feminine, AS on the end instead of just O. En el pasado, los trenes fueron usados or utilizados, two verbs of verb to use. OS, because it's trenes, masculine plural, for either of those. Preterite of the verb to be. And the last one, el libro ha sido escrito por un autor famoso. El libro masculine. This time we've got the perfect tense again of the verb ser, so it's ha sido. And then we use the past participle of escribir, which is escrito, which is an irregular one again. Escrito, O on the end because libro is masculine. Okay, rewind it back and see whether you've got any queries, and then ask me if you're not sure. Okay.